Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Unfortunately, tomorrow we're not going to have a class because I have a program to attend in South Jersey. And on Sunday, we are having a graduation ceremony for the madrasa kids, the weekend school and the evening school kids. And it's going to happen from Asr because we want to have, iftar with the kids here. So on Sunday too, we will not have a class, inshallah. So our class will resume on Monday, inshallah. This is just a reminder. Naam, fadal. Naam.
What is itikaf? Why do we do itikaf? And can we do itikaf momentarily?
So the question is, what is i'tikaf? And what do we do in i'tikaf? And can we do i'tikaf momentarily? That is, i'tikaf is secluding yourself in the masjid during Ramadan for how long? As, with the intent of worshipping the Almighty Allah. The Prophet Muhammad used to do i'tikaf from the 10th of Ramadan till the end. Sometimes he does it for 20 days. But then what has been widespread is that i'tikaf has been done in the last 10 days. The idea is to be able to worship Allah, to meet Laylatul Qadr. You can choose to do i'tikaf for half a day, not necessarily the full 24 hours. You can choose to do i'tikaf for 3 days. You can choose to do i'tikaf for 5 days. You can choose to do i'tikaf for the 10 days. And by extension, you can choose to do i'tikaf for 20 days. You can choose to do i'tikaf for the whole month of Ramadan. But i'tikaf is specifically devoted in the month of Ramadan. Outside the month of Ramadan, we don't have anything in our Sharia that says a Muslim can close himself in the masjid for a number of days. No. Even though some of our Sufi brothers have what they call khalwa, where someone hides in the room for 40 days, he doesn't come out. After 40 days, he comes out and then he tells that he's been seeing things. Of course, you see things. You've been alone in the room for 40 days. Definitely you see things. But then, secluding yourself for ibadah is always done in the masjid. And the reason being is that so that you don't miss the 5 daily prayers as a male. If you seclude yourself in your home or in your room for 40 days, that's also sinful. Because in Islam, for the male, coming to the masjid is what? Is wajib. And you are what? You are forgoing one of the wajibat of the deen if you seclude yourself in a room. So that is why i'tikaf is done in what? In the masajid. And preferably the masjid that you have Jum'ah in, so that you don't miss Jum'ah too. And there is no stipulated form of ibadah to be done in i'tikaf. Any form of ibadah in the deen, reading the Quran, adhkar, nafila, can be done in i'tikaf. So in some, masajid that, have done i'tikaf, is that after Fajr, there's no sleeping. You do adhkar till the sun rises, and then you do your salatul duha. And then you sleep for a number of hours, maybe up to about 10 a.m. And then 10 a.m. when you wake up, there is a fiqh class. It's a class where you learn from zuhur, from that time to zuhur, where you learn. So there's a book, and the sheikh teaches the book, and everybody has the book. You learn. After zuhur, you have your qaylula, your afternoon nap. It's al-asr. When you pray asr, you do tafseer till what? Till maghrib. After maghrib, you break your fast. It's what? It's just free time for people to just do. And then after isha, you do your taraweeh. And then you go and sleep. And then you wake up for tahajjud. And then you do your tahajjud. But then the fiqh class, every day there's a different class that you have. So fiqh, another time you do tawheed, another time you do what? You do what? You do hadith, you learn. In another place, in place of the tafsir after Asr, what they do is they read the Quran. So one person is reading and everybody is listening. So if he's tired, someone continues. If he's tired, someone continues. If he's tired, someone continues with the intention of being able to read the whole Quran in those 10 days. So what they try to do is every day they read 3 juz'. So Sheikh Ahmed starts, he's tired, I continue. I'm tired, someone else continues. The goal is to be able to read the 3 juz' from Asr to what? Till Maghrib. Doing that within 10 days, they'll be able to read what? 30 juz', they've read the whole Quran. So different masajid, and especially some of the masajid, they want to do it organized. Some of the masajid, they leave everybody to their what? You do whatever you want to do. And it's not compulsory that you want to have, a group something. So, but then the main aim of itikaf is what? Is getting closer to the Almighty Allah in the month of Ramadan, worshipping the Almighty Allah extra, and this has been stipulated for us in the deen, and especially in the month of Ramadan. And mostly it is done in the masajid, and especially the masajid that have Jummah in there, so that people do not miss Jummah. Because sometimes the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan might have 2 Jummah in there. It's possible. The last 10 days of Ramadan might have 2 Jummah in there. And if you go and do it in the masjid that doesn't have Jummah in there, then you have to go out of the masjid to go and pray Jummah in that masjid who has Jummah. Even though some scholars don't have any problem with that. But then the idea is you don't leave, if you intend to do the itikaf for 3 days or for the whole 10 days, there's no need just rushing out to go and do stuff that is not related. So even in the itikaf, people do not go out to visit sick people. They remain in the masjid in itikaf. Can your family come and visit you in the masjid in the itikaf? Yes, your wife can come to the masjid to come and visit you. If there's a space where you can sit and have, conversation, how are you, fine, how are the kids can come and visit you, and then they go back home. It is allowed. Aisha radiallahu anha used to visit the Prophet Muhammad in itikaf. And it is narrated that sometimes he would put his head out of the masjid and then she would wash his head for him. So it's allowed, but then the main intent is that you put in that extra gear to finish Ramadan strong. To be able to finish Ramadan and then be able to have access to Laylatul Qadr, and generally to be just a better Muslim, and then you carry it after Ramadan. I hope I've answered the question.
So you mean I can decide this Sunday I'm going to do itikaf from Zuhr to Maghrib,
Yes, it's possible. You can do that.
and I can also do that some hours in the night and do that.
Yes. So the idea is, itikaf, you need to have an intention for the time frame you want to have the itikaf, so that you don't violate the rules of itikaf within that time frame. So if you make the intention of doing itikaf for 10 days, and then no going out, no Uber within that time, no door dashing.
But can you do itikaf, like for example, inside this masjid and take part in the masjid activities?
Yes, you can do itikaf in the masjid and take part of the masjid activity. So for example, this tafsir that we are doing is a masjid activity that we are having. And then someone decides to start itikaf, because itikaf starts tonight. Maghrib tonight is the itikaf for the last 10 nights or the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan. So let's say, for example, on Sunday we are having the graduation ceremony for the kids, and the kids are come, some are reading the Quran, some are reading the hadith, and you are in itikaf. You can join us, and it's also part of your itikaf, and you are getting the blessing, you're listening to the Quran, you're supporting the kids. It's all part of doing service to Almighty Allah, and Almighty Allah is going to accept it, inshallah.
Yeah, the masjid activity I'm talking about is like distribution of zakat al-fitr, which is
Okay. Then that's
in another building, and then people interact with.
that's a challenge. If you're doing itikaf and then you are a member of the masjid administration and the collection of zakat al-fitr happens, and then you are itikaf, can you leave the masjid to go and take charge of Zakat al-Fitr collections? I don't think so. I don't think so. Can you be responsible for the Zakat al-Fitr to drive to neighbor's house to give them the food?
We don't go out.
I know. I'm asking. I'm answering the general questions just to make it clear.
Who is
Now,
hotel building? So you go there and then share out.
so the question now is: can we consider the second building and the third building as all part of the masjid? Okay. Let's say, for example, we have 100,000 square foot masjid, for example. And the masjid is a huge, let's say a huge masjid. This masjid is from here to the third building, for example, the musalla. So, and I'm amongst the masjid administration, and people are bringing zakat al-fitr. And we specify this corner of the masjid as a what? As a place where we'll be gathering what? The food for the zakat al-fitr. Can I be in itikaf and at the same time supervise that so long as it's within the walls of the masjid? Can I do that? I think yes, you can do that. So by extension, we can bring the second and the third building as what? The masjid what? Property. So you can be in itikaf in this masjid and at the same time supervise if there's what, the collection of what? Zakat al-Fitr in the second building or in the office or in the third building, because all of this is what? Is part of what? Of the masjid, because people pray in the second building and people pray in the what? In the third building. So yes, you can do that. You can do that. You can do that. Now.
Zakat, like the yearly one.
Yep.
How is that calculated and like what's all in it?
Yes. So the zakat, the main zakat is number one. A year you should have a fiscal year. So when you start your business, let's say you started your business on 29th March 2023, you cannot give out zakat until after a year later. If I say you cannot, it means it is not legislated upon you to give out the zakat until next year. That's one. Number two, whatever monies from your business should be more than 85 grams of gold, which earlier on I said is around $5,927. 85 grams of 24 carats gold. And whatever monies you have is yours. You've paid your bills, you've paid your debts, you paid your workers. Whatever profit that is left, which is yours, you can choose to do with it whatever you want, because you don't give out zakat whilst you are owing people. No. So you take out 22.5% of that. That is when it comes to what? Businesses. If you are a farmer, that you what? You give out, you are a farmer that you rear animals. So for cows, there's a number that you must give out. For sheep and goats, sometimes they are combined. And then camels, you give out. But chicken, there's no zakat on chicken as the animal. But then on the proceeds of what? The poultry farm that you have, you give out zakat. I hope you get it. So depending on the business that you have, you must make sure you don't owe anybody no money. You've paid all your debts, you've paid your workers, because people's rights shouldn't be on your neck. You should give out people their rights, and then after you check whatever income you have, and then it's $6,000 and above, you give out what? You give out 2.5% of that. So if you tabulate that, 2.5% of $6,000 is how much? The mathematicians. Percent of $6,000. I don't know. I'm only asking. $6? 6,000, yes. Use your phones. Don't need to use the brains. 3,300. 3,300. That's too much. 3,300. That's about 50% of that. More than 50. $150. Imagine you have $6,000 and you only give Allah $150 a year. It's nothing. And some people do not give. Some people do not give. So imagine you have $6,000. You're only giving Allah only 150. And this is not monthly. This is not monthly. This is a year. In a year, that's what you give Allah. Compulsory. A year. The Christians have 10% every month. 10% every month. And we are giving only 2.5 a year. People do not give. May Allah Allah safeguard us. Now. Oh, faddal. Jazakallah khair. Yes.
Is it so the fig and the olive was originally from Jerusalem?
No, I don't know that. We can't say for a fact that the figs and the olive are originally from Jerusalem. But then scientific data and fossil evidence tell us that these fruits are natives of what? Of the Middle East in the Mediterranean basin. But then as to their first originally from Jerusalem as a city, I don't know. Now.
The 2.5% that you talk about, so you have to give it to one person or you can give it to different.
Zakat, the idea behind zakat is helping someone to get them out of poverty. So mostly you realize that that's the minimum you can give. So for example, there are some people who their zakat is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, because of how wealthy they are. So for those people, they can see how best they can distribute it in a way that the person who is receiving the zakat can be able to stand on their foot and feet and what, and also start businesses. But if my zakat is $150, this is just to help pay someone's utility bills. It's just to help the person. So depending on how much zakat you have. So I wouldn't advise that if your zakat is $150 that you're giving up, you split it into three and give it to three different people. No. Find one person and give them the whole $150. And when you are giving it to them, tell them, this is my zakat, because that's the rule. This is my zakat. And give it to the person. Yes, you do that. But then if your zakat is maybe $100,000 that you're giving, fine, you can help set two people up businesses 50-50, or if you can break it into three, fine. But then the idea is give something to someone that can sustain them. That can sustain them. So $150, you don't get 10 envelopes and put in $15 each in there and give it to 10 people. No, this is just a meal for somebody. But at least $150 can help them do some grocerying for a couple of weeks. Help them do some grocerying for a couple of weeks, inshallah. Now,
$150, that would be cash.
That would be cash.
How do you do the food for a family member? Explain that to me.
So if it is zakat, the compulsory one, which is in the 5 pillars of Islam, that is cash. You give the person money. But then if it is zakat al-fitr that we're speaking about, the zakat that we give, towards the Eid, then that is food. That is food, and you give food to a household. And some of the scholars are saying mudsa. I don't know how to explain that. That's yes, a handful like this to give to the person. That's the bare minimum you can give. So if you can give 20-pound bag of rice to a family because you are well-to-do, alhamdulillah. You give them 35-liter gallon of soybean oil. That's whatever you be able to do. But then the bare minimum is what? Is this 2 handfuls of what? Of whatever food stuff that you're going to give to the person. And some of the scholars said you can accompany it with some other stuff. So you give 2 handfuls of rice, maybe a liter of oil, and then some tomato sauce, and something that will help the person to be able to prepare a full meal for them to eat. So for example, the Hanafi school of thought has also given the chance to give it in monetary values. In money. The Hanafi school of thought. Of all the 4 madhahib, it's only the Hanafis that say, yes, you can give out in money values. Maybe the person does not like rice and you give them rice. Maybe. So for them, they're saying what is going to be convenient for the person who is receiving it. So if you give them $50, they go grocery and buying whatever they want, they buy. But then the base or the basic sunnah is that you give what? You give food. And if you want to go directly by the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the food that he mentioned is specific to his what? His area. How many of us eat dates as a daily meal? Some of us only eat dates on Mondays and Thursdays when we're breaking our fasting in the month of Ramadan. We hardly eat what? Dates. So if you bring 2 kilos of dates and give it to somebody as a zakat al-fitr, it's not, a staple food for us in this part of the world that we eat. So the scholars are saying those food that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith as food specific to their area. So if you're part of the world, you give what? Food that is what? Specific to what? The people in the area. Mac and cheese for us. So it's from this understanding that the Hanafi school of thought deduced that, okay, you can give out money for the person to go and get whatever they're comfortable with. So for example, our masjid here, we say no monies. We say what? We're going to go with food, stuff, and give the person. And in Zakat al-Fitr, if you're also giving food, give something that you will agree to eat. I'm not saying that give what you normally eat. No. I'm saying when you are giving that food, will you accept to eat it in terms of its wholesomeness, in terms of its purity, in terms of its nutritious nature. So don't give us food that is going to expire next week. No, don't do that. Because don't forget, Zakat al-Fitr, the idea is what? It's an expiation of your sins within the month of Ramadan to help what? Lift up your Ramadan to what? To be accepted and rewarded. But then, it doesn't mean that if you're not capable, that your Ramadan is going to be accepted if you do not give Zakat al-Fitr. It still boils down to what? Your abilities and your capabilities. So the idea behind Zakat al-Fitr is food that you give to a poor person in anticipation of the day of Eid, that they can also cook some food on the day of Eid, and then they also enjoy with their families. Allah knows best. Inshallah. We have a follow-up question?
One more.
Okay.
When does Wakatiya collect it?
We are starting on Wednesday. Chief, is that right? Yeah. Yes, we're starting the collection on Wednesday, inshallah. I remember this afternoon Sheikh Aqil gave the announcement, inshallah. So you can see Chief, you can see Sheikh Aqil, you can come to the office, and then inshallah, and I believe that the third building will be prepared for us to take Zakat al-Fitr. So let's come to you again.
So 2 quick questions. So the yearly zakat, who is that obligatory upon, and if you got properties and stuff, is that calculated in your zakat?
Yes. So for example, who is it obligated upon? It's obligated upon the sane, pubescent Muslim who is capable. So for example, if a 10-year-old has millions of dollars, it is not obligatory upon that 10-year-old to give out zakat. That's one. Number 2, if a mentally unstable person, challenged mentally, maybe his father left him properties and then he is mentally challenged, it is not obligatory upon him to give out zakat from that money. If someone has millions, maybe you started your business, with maybe $2,500. Yes, $2,500. You started your business, and then, the year comes around and your profits are only $5,000. Zakat is not compulsory upon you because the money has not reached the threshold of zakat within the deen. But then if you want to give out, you will get the reward of zakat, even though your wealth has not reached that threshold. So all these nuances come into play. So what if I have properties? There's one zakat that we mostly forget, we don't say it. Women who have jewelry of gold and silver that they wear it to functions, they wear it for you, the husband, for beautification. If it is equivalent to 85 grams of gold, zakat is eligible on that. And the sisters do not know this. She has gold necklaces, she has gold ring, but then it's not for business, it's for a personal use. That has zakat eligibility on it. So long as it is what? 85 grams of 24 karat gold. So what if I have businesses? I'm renting apartments, So the buildings themselves, are they zakat eligible? No. The proceeds from the buildings, that's what is zakat eligible. Because the buildings depreciate. The proceeds, the rentals that I get, the rent money that I get from those buildings, the cars that I hire, people come and hire my cars. The proceeds from that, because of course I have a balance sheet all the time. I keep records, I keep track records of everything, my income, my expenditure. So after the fiscal year, whatever I get from that, that is what zakat is eligible upon. Allah alam, Allah knows best now. Allah alam, Allah knows best now.
So zakat is based on the money that you have sitting for.
Yes.
So what happens if you don't have money sitting for you, or you depleted your money? You had whatever amount of money, you depleted it, the year comes around, you don't have nothing. You have, minimal money in your account. How do you pay zakat?
So if you've depleted your money, but then you have properties. If I want to understand the question.
No, it's no properties. You don't have no assets.
You don't have no asset. You've depleted all your money. By the time the year comes around, you have $10 in your bank account. No zakat on you. We need to even give you zakat.
So what is the threshold for you to be required to pay? What number?
That's $5,927 as at March 2024.
That's been sitting for that full year.
Yes, that's been sitting for that full year. That's been sitting for that full year. And I clocked it to $6,000. Now. Yep. I think I saw something around $15 per person. If it is a monetary value, $15 per person. That's what I